Tensions escalate as Israel and Hamas resume hostilities, while tornadoes wreak havoc in central China. Plus, Ukraine faces increasing threats from Russian forces. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. In Venezuela, the aftermath of a recent earthquake continues to unfold, with authorities struggling to assist affected communities. Rescue operations are ongoing, with many individuals still unaccounted for. The earthquake's impact has exacerbated existing humanitarian challenges in the country, where economic instability and political turmoil have already taken a toll. Reports indicate significant damage to infrastructure, leaving many without basic services. As international aid begins to arrive, the situation remains dire, with calls for immediate support and long-term recovery plans. The broader implications highlight the urgent need for sustainable development and disaster preparedness in vulnerable regions. As the situation stabilizes, efforts to rebuild will require collaboration and resources from both local and international entities. In a heartfelt appeal, Pope Leo urged the United States to welcome immigrants, emphasizing the importance of compassion and solidarity. This call comes as global migration continues to rise, fueled by conflict and economic hardship in various regions. The Pope's message resonates with many who advocate for humanitarian policies and inclusive practices. The impact of such statements can be profound, influencing public opinion and policy decisions. As the discourse around immigration remains contentious, the Pope's intervention may help shift perspectives. The broader context involves ongoing debates in the U.S. regarding border security and immigration reform. As advocacy groups respond to the Pope's words, it remains to be seen how this will affect legislative actions. The coming weeks could witness renewed efforts to address immigration policies in light of this call. In a surprising move, the U.S. Coast Guard removed a vessel from a parade in New York City due to controversial banners displayed on it. This decision has ignited a heated debate about the delicate balance between freedom of expression and public safety during national celebrations. Contextually, this incident unfolded against a backdrop of heightened sensitivities surrounding political discourse in the United States, where expressions of dissent have become increasingly polarizing. The Coast Guard emphasized their commitment to maintaining safety during public events. But critics argue that such actions could set a troubling precedent for censorship of dissenting views. The immediate impact was significant, as the vessel's removal attracted widespread media attention and public discourse. As the debate continues, questions about the balance between patriotism and protest are being raised. This incident may prompt lawmakers and civic leaders to reevaluate existing regulations governing public demonstrations in the future, potentially reshaping the landscape of civic engagement. Financial markets are currently experiencing significant turmoil as investors react to escalating geopolitical tensions and widespread economic instability. Recently, a sharp spike in oil prices, primarily fueled by ongoing conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, has heightened concerns about inflationary pressures across the globe. Analysts warn that these economic strains could potentially push several major economies into recession, disrupting growth prospects. Stock markets have exhibited extreme volatility, with major indices suffering substantial declines, reflecting investor anxiety. This situation has prompted increased scrutiny of central bank policies, as these institutions grapple with the challenge of balancing economic growth against rising inflation. The impact on consumers is becoming increasingly pronounced, with escalating prices affecting everyday necessities such as food and fuel. As businesses prepare for possible downturns, experts are advising caution in investment strategies. Looking ahead, the global economy seems to be at a critical juncture, and the actions taken by policymakers in the coming months will be pivotal in shaping its future trajectory. A high-rise building in Manhattan has been declared unstable following a dramatic incident where bricks fell and structural columns buckled, leading to immediate evacuations. Emergency responders quickly arrived on the scene to assess the safety of surrounding buildings and ensure the well-being of the public. This alarming event raises critical concerns about building integrity in urban environments, especially as many structures in the city have aged considerably. The impact on local residents has been profound, with numerous families displaced and nearby businesses experiencing significant disruptions. Emergency services are working diligently to secure the area and provide essential support to those affected. As investigations unfold, experts are calling for stricter building regulations to prevent future tragedies. The city is now under scrutiny for its preparedness in handling such emergencies effectively. Moving forward, city officials are expected to prioritize comprehensive infrastructure assessments to enhance safety measures and protect the community from similar incidents in the future. Following Ukraine's recent attacks on Russia's largest refinery, gas shortages have been reported across the nation. These targeted strikes aim to disrupt Russian supply chains and demonstrate Ukraine's military capabilities. As a consequence, long queues have formed at gas stations, causing significant frustration among citizens who are already facing numerous challenges. The economic implications of these shortages are profound, as fuel prices are expected to spike dramatically, impacting transportation, logistics, and various industries. This situation adds another layer of complexity to Ukraine's already strained economy, which has been grappling with the effects of prolonged conflict and high inflation. International observers are increasingly concerned about how these shortages will affect civilian life, hampering daily activities and potentially hindering the war effort. As authorities scramble to address the crisis, discussions are underway to secure alternative energy sources, including potential partnerships with neighboring countries. In the coming days, it will be crucial for Ukraine to implement effective strategies to mitigate the fallout from these attacks and stabilize the energy supply for its citizens. The political landscape in Iran faces significant uncertainty following the recent death of its longtime leader, a pivotal figure in the nation's governance. His passing has sparked intense speculation about potential power struggles within the ruling elite, as no clear successor has emerged. The funeral highlighted the presence of his sons, who have been positioned as potential heirs, yet their capability to unite the fragmented factions remains questionable. This leadership vacuum emerges during a period of heightened tensions with Western nations, particularly surrounding stalled nuclear negotiations that have global implications. The uncertainty could lead to increased domestic unrest, as various factions within the political landscape vie for control and influence. Furthermore, the instability might exacerbate Iran's involvement in regional conflicts, particularly in Syria and Yemen, where its influence has been significant. As Iran navigates this transitional period, the potential for shifts in its internal policies and external relations is high, suggesting that the coming months will be critical for both domestic stability and international engagement. The ongoing war in Ukraine has intensified as Russian forces threaten key strategic positions, particularly in the eastern Donbass region. Recent reports indicate increased shelling along the front lines, raising alarms among military analysts who fear a significant escalation. This conflict, rooted in historical grievances, began in 2014 with Russia's annexation of Crimea and its subsequent support for separatist movements in eastern Ukraine. As a result, Ukraine's defense strategy has focused on maintaining territorial integrity while preparing for potential escalations in hostilities. The impact of these threats extends beyond the battlefield, deeply affecting civilian life, displacing families, and disrupting essential services. Global political stability is also at stake, as NATO has expressed unwavering solidarity with Ukraine, yet concerns about a wider conflict loom large. The international community is closely monitoring the situation, emphasizing the urgent need for diplomatic interventions to de-escalate tensions. As both sides appear increasingly entrenched, analysts predict that the coming weeks will be critical in determining the future of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The outcome of this standoff could reshape the geopolitical landscape in Eastern Europe for years to come. Severe tornadoes and storms swept through central China, particularly affecting Hubei province, resulting in at least 11 confirmed deaths. The destructive weather system struck unexpectedly, prompting local authorities to declare emergencies and initiate rescue operations. Rescuers are tirelessly working to search for survivors amid the wreckage of homes and buildings devastated by the powerful winds. This disaster underscores the alarming trend of increasingly frequent extreme weather events globally, a phenomenon many experts attribute to climate change and its far-reaching consequences. The impact on the local community is profound, with thousands displaced and local economies facing significant disruption, particularly in agricultural sectors that are vital for livelihoods. Infrastructure damage will require extensive repairs and financial investment, placing additional strain on already burdened local governments. As recovery efforts continue, experts emphasize the urgent need for enhanced weather preparedness and early warning systems in vulnerable regions. The government is likely to face scrutiny regarding its response and mitigation strategies, particularly in light of the rising intensity of such storms. Looking ahead, policymakers must prioritize resilient infrastructure and community education to better equip citizens for future weather-related challenges, ensuring that lessons learned from this disaster lead to stronger safeguards against similar events. Israel and Hamas have reignited their conflict, marking a significant escalation in violence that has shocked the region. The latest clashes began with airstrikes on Gaza following rocket fire into southern Israel, highlighting the volatility of the situation. This conflict has deep historical roots, emerging from decades of territorial disputes, political disagreements, and mutual distrust. The recent flare-up comes amidst a fragile ceasefire that many hoped would hold, raising concerns about the effectiveness of past diplomatic efforts. The impact has been devastating, with reports of casualties on both sides and widespread destruction in Gaza, including damage to civilian infrastructure and homes. International reactions have been swift, with various countries urging restraint and calling for renewed peace talks to prevent further escalation. However, the cycle of violence raises questions about the prospects for a lasting resolution, as both sides appear entrenched in their positions. Observers note that this resurgence of hostilities could destabilize the region further, potentially drawing in neighboring countries and complicating international relations. As both sides prepare for further confrontations, the global community remains on high alert. Analysts predict that diplomatic efforts will intensify in the coming days as leaders seek to establish a framework for dialogue. The immediate future will be critical in determining whether a path to peace can be forged amidst the ongoing turmoil. Thank you for watching today's top stories. Which news story shocked you the most? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.